Hello everyone, it's your boy Rage, and in this video, I'll be discussing how strong the Fake Yhwach is. Before I get on with the video, I want to say if you guys could please leave a like and subscribe. It helps with my video and my channel. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. The reason I feel the need to make a video on the Fake Yhwach is because I've seen so many people downplay characters like Kenpachi or Yamamoto. They will say things like, oh, Kenpachi's weak because he got no-diff by a random Quincy pretending to be Yhwach, or Yamamoto is weaker than he was back 1,000 years ago because he needed to use Bankai against the Fake Yhwach. Not only that, but people will say that this Fake Yhwach was just an average Quincy. I'm not sure why people think Royd is an average Quincy when Yamamoto easily pooped on Driscoll, but Royd is swapping hands with Bankai Yamamoto. No average Quincy is swapping hands with Bankai Yamamoto. Let's first discuss who the Fake Yhwach really is. Royd. Now, Royd is a Quincy with the power to copy someone's appearance. Not only that, but he gains their memories and mind. He has a twin brother named Lloyd. His powers are somewhat the same, but instead of getting their memories and mind, he gains their powers and skill. I want to quickly discuss why I think Yhwach chose Royd and not Lloyd to replace him, since people think Yhwach is dumb for not picking Lloyd. It makes complete sense on why Yhwach chose Royd due to the fact he doesn't just gain their memories, but mind. Upon thinking about it, gaining one's mind basically means you gain the personality, things like the way they think and the way they speak, basically everything about a person. Yhwach is trying to fool Yamamoto into thinking he's fighting him, when in reality, he's fighting an imposter, while the real Yhwach is talking to Aizen. Yamamoto would have definitely found out that Yhwach wasn't acting right and that something was up. Even if you think Yamamoto wouldn't figure it out, you could just say Yhwach was taking extra precaution. Now with that out of the way, let's go over how strong the Fake Yhwach or Royd actually is. Some people seem to forget that gaining one's memory can give you amps in Bleach. Royd was able to gain every experience Yhwach has been through. Not only that, but he gains Yhwach's ability. He's able to use the ultimate Quincy spell along with other spells, which from what I've gathered, no other Quincy but Yhwach has the ability to use. Now there's another character like this in Bleach, and we see him actually get stronger upon gaining the memories of another. This character being Tsukishima. Tsukishima was struggling against a complete full-bring Ichigo. Now the strength of this Ichigo is somewhat debatable. There's a statement saying an incomplete full-bring Ichigo is near in power to his old Soul Reaper powers. The thing about this is that it's definitely not talking about Dangai. For one, Tsukishima nor Genjo should know how strong this Ichigo is. Not even Aizen, who transcended Soul Reaper and Hollow and surpassed every captain or Soul Reaper in the Soul Society, was able to sense how strong this Ichigo is. So they would have to be talking about the Ichigo before Dangai. Now it's hard to say what Ichigo they are necessarily talking about because they didn't see him in Huecamundo nor in Fake Karakura. But let's just say they know through Ichigo's friends due to the fact that Tsukishima inserted himself into their past. At this point, it doesn't really matter what Ichigo you want to use, since Tsukishima was struggling to fight a complete full-bring Ichigo that's compared to Ichigo before Dangai. We even see how Tsukishima does against a complete full-bring Ichigo, and Tsukishima got blitzed and his arm cut off within the first few pages of the fight. Seeing this, he should only be below whatever Ichigo you want to use. For the video, I'm going to just use the Ichigo right before Dangai, so the Ichigo that appears in Fake Karakura and the one who fought Gin. It should be noted that this Ichigo is below Aizen by a large amount, so Tsukishima should be below this Ichigo along with base Aizen. But later on, he's able to fight Byakuya, who's done enough training at this point to fight base Aizen. Before Tsukishima inserts himself into Byakuya's past, he wasn't able to land a single blow, but after he uses Book of the End on his Zanbato, then he's strong enough to break his sword and combat him in Bankai. That was just an example of how memories give characters amps in Bleach. I could go in deeper, but I'll do that in another video. I have no doubt this would apply to Royd, but let's say for whatever reason you don't think he can and is only a Tsukishima thing. Well, everything the fake Yhwach did, or Royd I should say, should just be able to do. In the first fight, we see him off-screen Kenpachi and calls him a disappointment. This Kenpachi isn't weak whatsoever. In the first evasion, he's the only one to win a battle, not only against one Quincy, but 3 at the same time. No one else was able to win their battle, not Byakuya, not Renji, not Toshiro, not Soifone, not even Shunsui, who becomes head captain after the first invasion. For those of you who like the novels and think they're canon, Kenpachi fights as a Shiro, who is stated to be the strongest Soul Reaper in the novel, even with people like Yamamoto and Unohana around. Now, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with this statement. As a Shiro was so strong that Squad Zero needed to come down to stop him. Now, to be fair, Zaraki didn't win this fight, it ended in a draw. Zaraki gets in another fight, and it's against Zayalaparo's brother. Zayalaparo is stated to be relative to Vasto Lorde Ichigo. Not only that, but he states Kenpachi can possibly cut through Baragon's Respira, and that Stark's swords in his release wouldn't cut through Kenpachi's guts. I'm not sure why Stark's swords are being compared or being put on the same level of Baragon's Respira, but I guess the swords are crazy strong. Keep in mind, Kenpachi does all this before his 17 months of training. The fake Yhwach was able to destroy this Kenpachi, which is insane if you want to include feats from the novel. At this point, the fake Yhwach should be far above characters like Base Aizen, Vasto Ichigo, along with every captain at this point in the series, with the exception of Yamamoto. Maybe you could say not Vasto Ichigo, but I'll get into his strength in another video. Speaking of Yamamoto, let's talk about his fight. Let me just clear this up, since so many people think Yamamoto got massively weaker since the last war 1,000 years ago. People try justifying Yamamoto being weaker by using the whole Yhwach statement about him claiming Yamamoto being weaker. Yhwach was not talking about in power whatsoever. Yhwach thinks caring about people makes him weak and holds him back in battle. He even says you tried fighting me with the weight of the Soul Society and the world of the living on your shoulders and failed. He even says that's the reason he removed him from the war potential list, was because peace made him weak due to the fact he was able to learn to love and want to protect the ones around him. We see a good example of this when it's revealed that Yamamoto was fighting Royd the whole time. We see Squad 1's barracks blow up. Yamamoto gets distracted and worries about Okikiba letting his guard down and Yhwach getting the drop on him. So when Yhwach calls Yamamoto weak, he's not talking about in power, but instead mindset. Think about it, Yhwach is somewhat like Thanos, who is willing to do whatever it takes to get to his goal. Yhwach killed the Soul King, who was his father. He was willing to kill Drugrum, or he did kill Drugrum, who was his most loyal servant. He didn't shed a single tear when his Quincy army were dying. Keep in mind, he spent 1,000 plus years with these people, and he didn't care about them a single time. Another thing is that what Yhwach says could just be an opinion, not fact. Keep in mind, characters in Bleach get amps when they fight along allies or are fighting to protect someone. Now with that out the way, you could say Yama is weaker due to the fact he lost his arm, which has been proven to nerf characters. A good example is the fact that Yami was gonna lose his rank because he lost his arm, and the fact Grimmjow says he got his powers back after regaining his arm. The thing is, Yamamoto using his true power in Bankai should make up the difference, especially since the nerf shouldn't be that big. Base one-arm Grimmjow, who got slammed with like 3 holified Getsuga Tenshos, was still able to beat up Bankai Ichigo just like he did before he lost his arm. Now, the actual fight. This Fake Yhwach is able to combat and match Yamamoto and Shikai. Yamamoto and Shikai, who Aizen didn't think he could win against, and was able to fight two top-level captains, and is stated to be transcended by Shunsui and Jushiro. Another thing is that Yamamoto was able to tank his own attack that probably would have destroyed the world according to Aizen. He reduced the damage from planet level to just a few blocks and was able to whip out a high level Kido right after. The Fake Yhwach doesn't really struggle with him whatsoever. Not only that, but this same Yamamoto was able to easily wipe out Basby, Aznot, along with another Quincy that I can't remember right now. Yamamoto wipes them out with ease just by lighting them on fire, whereas the Fake Yhwach is able to deflect his fire with ease. Yamamoto, in his fight with the Fake Yhwach, not only thought he needed his Bankai, but his true power to beat this imposter. Yamamoto doesn't note once that the Fake seems weaker than 1000 years ago, which makes sense when the imposter was still able to react and keep up with Bankai Yamamoto in East, at least up until he activated West. At that point, there's just nothing he could do. Keep in mind, this is Yamamoto using his true power. The Fake Yhwach is fighting a stronger Yamamoto compared to the one 1000 years ago that the real Yhwach fought. The imposter was able to force Yamamoto into using his South ability after using the strongest Quincy spell, or the ultimate one I should say. Speaking of South, Yamamoto's South ability isn't strong enough to take out the Fake Yhwach. People like to downplay this Fake Yhwach by using the fact Royd, after he's defeated, says I wasn't strong enough. This doesn't refer to Royd not being strong enough to win, but the whole plan was for him to tire out and stall Yamamoto until Yhwach got there. At that point, the real Yhwach hadn't showed up yet, so Royd is just saying that, oh man, I wasn't strong enough to last until Yhwach arrived. Don't forget, winning against Yamamoto was practically impossible without taking his Bankai. People also use the fact Royd lost against Yamamoto and Yhwach was able to cut him in half as soon as he got there. Well, the thing about this is that Yhwach didn't want to fight Yamamoto till after he was tired and after he stole his Bankai. We can't forget the fact Yhwach already took an L to this Yamamoto 1000 years ago, so saying Royd taking the L doesn't prove he's any weaker than Yhwach. There is a statement from Yhwach himself confirming that Royd isn't as strong, and it has to do with the stealing Bankai part. Yhwach says no one is able to wield the power of Yamamoto's Bankai but himself. Now, all this means is Royd isn't as strong as Yhwach, which I'm not trying to argue in my video that he is. I'm more trying to prove that people don't give him enough credit and that he's pretty strong. He's bare minimum equivalent to Shikai Yamamoto, or maybe if you want to highball him, you can say in Bankai if he's only using East, or maybe you could go a step above that and say relative to Yhwach, but not quite as strong, but not much weaker either. I think anything more than that is too much. Anyways, that's all for the video. I do want to make a video where I replace Kenpachi or Yamamoto with Unohana in the fight against the Fake Yhwach, but I'll probably do that after I make a How Strong is Unohana video. If you think I missed or overlooked something, be sure to let me know down below. I read every comment I get. If you could leave a like and subscribe, I'd appreciate that. Thank you and have a rainy day.